Hello, welcome to Local Anaesthetic Podcast, the most trusted name in local news. My name is Alex, and joining us, as always, via Skype is Rob. How you doing there, Rob?
Hello, folks. Yes, I'm well. I'm not too bad at all.
Good. It's been an extraordinary week this week. I've never seen... Because you know I'm a very keen watcher of Parliament. I mean, look, Rob, I've watched hours' worth of debates this week in Parliament.
I can understand why.
I sit there with BBC Parliament on. It's absolutely fascinating, but I've never seen anything like it. But whilst this political maelstrom is going around behind us, Rob, and around us, we're going to cut through it with local news, Rob, for local people, which I do wonder if that shouldn't be our new strapline.
Local news for local people. I do like that.
Yeah, so do I. I thought about it. It came into my head the other day. But that's what this is. Weird, funny, strange, sinister, bizarre local news. And boy, have I got some for you this week, and I'm sure you do, Rob. Rob, is there any news?
There is a...
No. Oh,
go on.
Yes, there is. Was there something you sent?
There was. Yes. Yeah. Yes, Face the Strange. That's right. What was it?
But didn't we talk about that last week?
No.
Oh, no, I said... Okay, so I said last week, didn't I, that somehow we were talking about, I think it was Red Dwarf, and we talked about how it would be... How did we even get... I don't even know how we got onto that.
I heard on the podcast that there was a guest on there who mentioned that he'd been to Eton with Jacob Rees-Mogg, and I speculated that Jacob Rees-Mogg was basically Rimmer from when he was in the boarding school.
And so we came up with the idea of top Tories in the as cast members in the show Red Dwarf.
Yeah.
And I think what we said was Jacob Rees-Mogg as Rimmer. Who was it as Lister? Boris Johnson?
Lister was Boris Johnson, that's right.
Yeah, lazy, idle, all of that. And I think then we made a mistake now, but really, because we said Ian Duncan Smith as the cat, Vane, which I do agree with, but as Crichton, we said Michael Gove. And I think I said, look, Face the Strange, one of our loyal listeners, who's also a very, very talented artist, if you want to make that for us, mock that up for us, and of course, Face the Strange did, and it's brilliant. Blue Dwarf, we called it. But having seen it, and I'm sure he must have thought this as he was making it, boy, would Ian Duncan Smith make a very good Crichton.
Yeah, I do agree with that. He does fit the role better. I hate to admit it, but I think you're right in this case.
Well, he's bald for a start, and I mean that helps. I mean, even when I looked at the picture, I even thought, oh, there's Crichton. But
yeah.
But another brilliant job. I'm sure you've put it on the Facebook. Anybody wants to see Face the Strange. Just thank you so much again. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Face Strange has also been moonlighting as well for... Do you know the Beef and Dairy Network podcast?
No, why would I? What is the Beef and Dairy Network podcast?
Well, I've listened to it on and off. So the Beef and Dairy Network is basically a podcast which aims to promote beef and dairy products. It is very much tongue-in-cheek. It's created by a guy called Ben Partridge, who's quite a well-known comedian. It is a very good podcast. But
so what's it actually about then? If it's not about promoting beef and whatever it was, what's it about?
Well, it's a satirical podcast that aims to basically promote the beef and dairy industries.
Every episode?
Yeah.
This sounds bizarre, but I like it.
It is bizarre, but it is very entertaining, so I would recommend listeners have a listen.
And you say, so has Face the Strange been cheating on us, Rob? Is that what you're about to reveal to me right now? Because I feel my heart
I would say they're a far bigger podcast. I like to think that he's supporting all the endeavours of various different podcasters throughout the UK.
So how has he been moonlighting, Rob?
Well, Amy shared one of his posts that he'd so basically the Beef and Dairy Network put a post up on their Facebook page, and Amy shared it with us.
I see. So again, you want to check that out, go to their Facebook page. Any other news, Rob, or can we get on with this?
No, there is some other news. I'm sorry about this, Alex. I know you're keen.
No, that's okay.
Chomping at the bit. Steve, you do have too much time on your hands. I do agree with your Facebook post, but thank you for sharing the official page for registering emotional support animals. So if anyone, any of our American listeners do want to find out how to register your emotional support animal, please get in contact and we'll share the page with you.
I've just had an amazing idea.
Okay.
I think for our 300th episode, what we should do is both of us should fly to the United States, but will register you as my emotional support animal and thus get 2 for the price of 1. We'll tape some sort of whiskers onto you, make you look sort of, I don't know, why not? We'll say you're my monkey. Or put you in the Sugar Puff outfit. Look, he's my emotional support animal.
You know full well I'm not allowed to wear that.
Yeah, okay, sorry. No, I don't think we're even allowed to mention it either, by the way. So,
well, no,
sorry.
Also true.
Yeah.
And also, as everyone knows,
we've had an injunction from Kellogg's. Is it? No, is Honey Monster correct? Nestle.
It's Nestle. Yeah.
Yeah, we've had an injunction from Nestle.
Yeah. Also, as we mentioned, we're going to Eagle Heights for our 200th episode. 300th episode.
We haven't affirmed that. We've got to think of different ideas. Maybe we think of different ideas and put them out to the listeners. That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Any other news, Rob?
Just a few more things. So, do you remember the guy who went to was in Germany and took the got the injection? Then they have the priapism, which obviously was the very extremely painful penis. Erection.
The constant erection that wouldn't go. I remember that story very well, Rob.
Yeah, just in case anyone would like to know, he's written his own perspective in The Guardian, which...
I didn't see it.
Yeah, Steve has very kindly shared it with us, so I can forward it to you after the episode.
Is it worth reading?
I haven't read it myself, I must admit, but it is his take.
Surely we should cover it as a follow-up.
Potentially, actually, yeah, possibly. Maybe next week.
Okay, have a look. Could you have a look at it? And if it's worth it, you can do that next week. Because that was one of our... That was one of our best stories of the year.
It was a very good episode, yeah. A very good story, I should say. Right, on with the podcast.
Is that it then? No more news? Okay.
No, that's it.
Okay, good. Right, so now on to local news, Rob, for local people. I don't really know where to start, but I mean, look, this is a local news story for New Yorkers. And talking of The Guardian, the traitorous Guardian, this is by... Agence France Press. So that means it's basically they've got it from French papers, doesn't it?
Right. It's been lifted then.
About New York. I don't know if you saw this. New York's new rat plan. You heard about this, Rob?
I did hear about this.
Ply rodents with alcohol and then drown them. New York has unveiled its latest weapon in the city. Yeah, in the city's long-running war against rats. An alcohol death trap. Sounds like the kind of thing Boris Johnson would have come up with when he was mayor.
Yeah, that's true.
Or actually, maybe even Ken Livingstone. We know he didn't like rats. He definitely didn't like pigeons because he described them as rats with wings. I mean, he fucking hated pigeons, Livingstone, didn't he?
Yeah, and wasn't it his initiative that he attempted to clear Trafalgar Square with pigeons?
Yes, that was one of the things. Rats are one of the more unappealing aspects of life in America's largest city, often seen scurrying between subway tracks and sniffing around garbage bags. City officials have spent millions of dollars trying to cull the rat population over the years, deploying everything from birth control to vermin-proof rubbish bins, so leaving sort of rat condoms lying around.
So, hang on, rodent birth control?
Yeah, rat condoms, Rob.
Right.
They probably commissioned them from Durex.
I mean, they'd be tiny. I don't know how big a rat's penis is, and maybe this is too early in the podcast to discuss this, but...
I think the strapline on the condom packet was guaranteed not to give you splinters, which is terrible reference to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles splinters. Yeah. Because isn't that right? No, the reason I say that is, I don't know if it's true for rats, but isn't it true that cats' penises are covered in quite sharp, sort of almost like needle type things?
They're barbs, yeah. So the idea with a cat penis, once the penis is inserted, the barbs,
the feline can't escape.
Yeah, exactly. So the feline is effectively ensnared by the penis.
How horrific.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if that's true for rats as well. Any sort of rat fans out there, you can let us know. On Thursday, they've at last, Rob, found a solution.
Okay.
A machine that attracts rats with bait and then triggers a trapdoor that drops them into a pool of alcohol-based liquid. Sorry, alcohol-based liquid. That's just alcohol, isn't it, Rob?
Why are they trying to dress that up? It's just alcohol. I mean, it may not be drinking alcohol, but it's still alcohol.
It knocks them out and they drown eventually. Anthony Giaquinto, the president of Rat Trap, which imports the devices from... Do you remember where they're imported from, Rob?
No. France?
Italy.
Oh, close.
The machine, called Echo Mill, is battery operated and resembles a cabinet stand about 2 foot 60 metres high. Rats climb a ladder to eat the bait. A sensor deploys a trip lever which plunges them into a tray that can hold 80 rat carcasses.
Is that the episode title?
What, a tray that can hold 80 rat carcasses? It's a contender. A total of 107 rats met their end this way during a month-long trial around the grounds of the Borough Hall in Brooklyn. Well, that's a lot of rats just for a hall.
It is, yeah, it really is.
During a rather macabre demonstration for journalists outside the building on Thursday, so they demonstrated this for journalists, sanitation workers opened the container to reveal several dead rats floating around in a green liquid. Now, wasn't that green liquid the thing that turned the... Wasn't that the kind of ooze? Yes, it was ooze from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah, didn't it start seeping up through the sewers?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, cause I think was it toxic waste, I believe, that transformed the turtles.
Yeah,
it usually is toxic waste. Yeah,
yeah. He says it's humane and environmentally friendly. I don't know how humane it is.
Well, I mean, I suppose if it's alcohol, I mean, maybe they'll have, as it is, it's possible. Maybe they just get a bit tipsy, have a little party, and then just fall into an alcohol-induced coma.
Well, thousands of New Yorkers, Rob, ring a health department helpline every year with rat complaints. Adams said New York was gripped by a rat crisis, adding that families were being traumatised by rats. In July 2017, the city announced a $32 million programme to cull thousands of rodents by installing rat-resistant rubbish bins and tightening rules on waste. It also tested a liquid bait that made rats infertile. I mean, They really are. Rob, this is trying everything. Do you remember when, again, I'm going back to Ken Livingstone. Do you remember when Ken Livingstone really wanted to get air conditioning onto the tube? And they commissioned loads of people to try and find a way, and they couldn't do it. And in the end, he offered £1 million to anyone who could come up with an idea. They're putting as much effort into killing their rats as Ken Livingstone tried to get air conditioning onto London Underground. Unsuccessfully, I should add. Yeah,
but at the same time, it does sound like that New York have at least found a solution for this.
Well, exactly. A rat shot to internet stardom in 2015 when it was filmed walking down the stairs of a subway station with a slice of pizza in its mouth, which surely is another Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles reference, although I don't know if Splinter ever indulged in the pizza. I can't remember. Maybe he was like, no, guys, I'm not, that's bad for you. But I kind of seem to remember him having a slice or two.
I think he would do. I mean, he's a rat. Surely he would just eat anything.
You would think.
Yeah.
Now, Rob, I am going to read you a story which I came across. How did I? Oh, that was it. Right. I believe this story made me almost cry with laughter at points when I read it. I believe it's an all-time classic, and I hope you agree.
Okay.
And it really is about the detail. Now, I came across this because I was perusing for the first time in my life the Sydenham Forum, which is where I live. And the Sydenham Forum is like where residents of Sydenham, like update people on things or let people know about an activity that's happening or share stories. And that's how I came across this story. And this story, Rob, is actually from February 2009.
Right.
This is a 10-year-old story, older than that.
Okay.
Which I believe is the oldest story we've probably reported on.
Yes, it really is.
But Rob, it has to be read, because when I came across it, and thankfully the Mail Online still had it, it is just brilliant. And of course, Sydenham was in the news, I think, yesterday or the day before, because a man was shot dead on Sydenham High Street. Did you see that?
The reports I saw that he accidentally shot himself.
No, but I mean, these are parts of Sydenham High Street I attend very frequently. Basically, a man walked up to a 4x4 with a shotgun, and the bullets ended up ricocheting off the window and killing himself.
Yeah, I saw that because it was outside Lloyd's Bank, wasn't it? I know exactly where it was, yeah. All very concerning.
Yeah, indeed. So I haven't been out since then, obviously.
Fair enough.
Okay, Rob. I'm sorry, it's from the Mail Online. But the Mail Online was the best quality story I could find. There were other versions, but this was the best.
Oh, that's bleak.
In terms of detail. It's by Ellen Widup. We don't know what she's doing now. From the 19th of February 2009. Isn't that near your birthday? No, your birthday's...
yeah, 2 days away.
2 days away, 21st. Mansion owner on the run after getting an ASBO for letting pack of 60 dogs terrorise neighbours. Rob, this happened in an area of Sydenham Hill that I know well. This is where this mansion is. Okay, are you ready for the story, Rob? Please feel free to interject if you want to talk about any of the details of this.
Okay.
The owner of a multi-million-pound house allowed her pack of 60 dogs to attack and terrorise her neighbours, leaving one, Rob, in need of plastic surgery. Tracy Thea is on the run after being given an ASBO for letting the animals howl all night, wander onto railway lines, and savage members of the public. And you know Sydenham Hill is a salubrious area, Rob.
Very much so. I actually think I know what you mean. But so hang on, was she walking these pack of 60 dogs?
No. We'll get on to all that, but what I like are these two examples, one in particular. I just want you to visualise this. One woman was mauled so badly by 2 Alsatians she needs to have extensive plastic surgery. That's horrific. A young man jogging past the estate needed emergency surgery after an Alsatian jumped out and attacked him.
Jesus Christ.
This road, which I know, which is a major road in Sydenham Hill, he's just running past the mansion, and an Alsatian leaps over the fence and attacks him. Which kind of reminds me of the hounds from Mr. Burns' residence on The Simpsons.
Yep.
Miss Tier, who owns Grade 2 listed Beltwood House in a 3.5 acre estate in Sydenham Hill, Dulwich, was banned from keeping animals. She was ordered to hand over her pets and pay costs of £50,000 to Southwark Council, but the 49-year-old refused to pay the fine and received an order for bankruptcy. She then breached the terms of her ASBA in January by keeping 5 more dogs at a property in Lambeth, and before any action could be taken against her, fled Britain. Council officers are seeking to have her home repossessed, and police have issued a warrant for her arrest. A spokesman for the council said there were numerous attacks on members of the public which resulted in some horrific injuries. So will answer your question, Rob. At one point she had around 60 dogs in her home, mostly Alsatians, otherwise known, of course, Rob, as German Shepherds.
Of course.
She called herself an animal lover, but clearly wasn't. The animals were neglected and in very poor condition. So she wasn't taking... These dogs were just on the grounds, Rob. Can you imagine a mansion surrounded by 60 German Shepherds? 60. Starving.
I know roughly where this is, but even with that much ground, I mean, it must have been disgusting. I'm sorry, it must have been absolutely... But
also, these Alsatians, Rob, must have been just starving for food.
Yeah.
They became desperate. 6 people were injured by Miss Tier's dog in a 3-month period, and police received, Rob, a further 48 complaints from people who had been chased. I want you to get this right. This is in Sydenham Hill. 48 people complained about being chased by her German Shepherds. These were members of the public. I know that road. Can you imagine walking down it and being out of nowhere chased by a pack of ravenous German Shepherds?
It's astonishing, Alex. I'm not going to lie to you.
I don't know what I'd do. Maybe I'd run into the woods that are near there, Dulwich Woods, and try and evade. No, maybe that's a bad idea.
I mean, you have to remember, these are pack dogs, Alex. They would see this as a challenge.
So what would you do?
Well, I've always been told that apparently if you ever facing a dog attack, you should then... I don't know how true this is, but apparently you're supposed to pull apart the front legs. Horrific, but true.
What you mean, when you say pull apart, you mean really snap them apart?
Yeah, so if a dog actually has made contact with you, so if a dog is actually biting you, and so apparently the way to try and open there, because obviously a dog's bite is extremely, it's very difficult to prise a dog's jaws, teeth, whatever, apart. So apparently the legs are the way to do it. I don't know how true that is. You could also try and punch it in the nose like a shark.
Does kicking it in the bollocks work?
Depends if they've got them, Alex.
That's very true. Miss Tier, an American, bought the property for £1.1 million in 2001. She kept around... Now, Rob, I need to prepare for this. As well as the 60 dogs on the premises, Rob, she also had 20 horses.
Where?
This mansion is just behind a popular pub. I never even knew this mansion was there. And apparently there are 20 horses and 60 dogs.
Sorry.
As well, Rob, hang on.
Okay.
As several... Guess the animal.
Peacocks.
Several what? Yeah, how did you know that?
Seriously? No, fuck off. Is it seriously peacocks?
How did you know it was peacocks? You just thought... I didn't. Do you know why? You thought of emotional support animals.
I did. Hang on. Sorry. How did the dogs not tear the peacocks apart?
Well, none of this makes any sense. And all of this was uncovered, Rob, because the RSPCA began an investigation last year. Right. So this is when the RSPCA, presumably, Rob, were efficient. Now, I just got to read the last few paragraphs. The last one, which did, I have to say, sort of make me laugh. Dozens of sick dogs were removed by Battersea Dogs Home. 2 Alsatians and a crossbreed were destroyed. The horses, many showing signs of neglect, were taken by, Rob... by the way, I don't know if I want this as an episode title, but it's a fantastic name. They were taken in by the International League for the Protection of Horses.
Oh, I do like that.
The International League for the Protection of Horses sounds like a sort of superhero group.
Yeah, it really... That does sound like it could be a Saturday morning children's show.
I wonder if it's a spin-off of the UN. Anyway.
I was really concerned you were going to say, and the horses were taken by the company Loctite.
Oh, yeah, Pritzlick.
Pritzlick.
Well, Rob, last paragraph. A neighbour who did not wish to be named said it was an ongoing saga which resulted in people getting horrific injuries, several children being chased, and one man having a nervous breakdown and leaving the area.
I mean,
I can't take it anymore. Children being chased, and then one man having a nervous breakdown and leaving the area. I mean, oh my God!
Alex,
if only we'd been this story happened 3 years before we started the podcast. If we'd been recording then, we would have had this headline.
I think we've missed. An incredible story, but I think for me the most shocking part of that is the fact that she managed to buy a mansion in Sydenham Hill for 1.1 million. You wouldn't find that these days.
No, exactly. Now, Rob, last story, which is very short. This is one of our classic, very short stories where you wish there was detail, you wish there was more context. It's just there. It really makes you wonder. It's from The New Shopper by Emily Hennings. She will have spent all of 30 seconds writing this.
Brilliant.
From, I think it was yesterday. No, 8th of September. Lewisham police arrested a man last night impersonating a police officer. Officers from Response Team E have arrested a man in possession of an offensive weapon after they saw him using blue lights and sirens to overtake members of the public. The man also had a police-style baton, handcuffs and radio on a belt. What do you think of this? Let us know on Facebook or in the comments below. What was this man's agenda? You're driving around with a baton. I mean, you did for a brief time, Rob. I mean, I know it ended in ignominy, but you did work for the police.
I did, yes. Yeah, that's true.
Which I thought would do you favours in the Honey Monster trial, but it didn't.
No, it's strange.
Because normally I thought it'd close ranks, but it didn't happen.
I can't disagree with that, unfortunately. I mean, maybe he's... I mean, the only way I can imagine that people want to do this is they want to be in a position of power. They want to be able to exploit that in some way. Maybe get some backhanders or some sort of financial benefit. But I mean, it happens quite a lot. Unfortunately, everyone has their own agenda.
Well, Rob, from comments which I did enjoy, Bob Dope says, "Absolute crank. Section the div." Red Letter says, and I think there's an episode title in here. Says, perhaps he was auditioning to be one of Boris's 20,000 extra policemen.
I mean, let's be fair, that for all we know, Boris could just literally be handing out policemen's outfits and go, off you go.
Okay, Rob, you got a story for us there.
Yeah, so my first story is the obligatory story from the Daily Mirror, because we have to have one each week. And this is a classic. This was also submitted by Amy, but I think I already had the story before she sent it in. The story is from the 28th of August by Olive Loveridge Green. Good name there. And the headline: Dad left starstruck after Queen legend Freddie Mercury appears in his pork chop.
Porn shop?
Pork chop.
In his pork chop?
Yeah.
The first thing I thought you said was pawn shop. Then I thought you might have actually said port shop, which I thought must be a shop that just exclusively sells port. No sherry here, just port. But you actually said pork chop.
Yeah, yeah.
No, Freddie Mercury didn't appear in his pork chop, did he, Rob?
I mean,
at some stage, I'm going to have to look at this picture and judge for myself, but I'll let you read the story first.
And I mean, I can see it. So a Queen fan was left starstruck after spotting frontman Freddie Mercury in his pork chop. Derek Sims, 47, had popped his £3.49 cut of meat into a pan only to find the rock legend suddenly appear as it was cooked. The dad of two had been cooking dinner for him and his wife Donna, 46, as a bank holiday treat at their home in Blackpool.
Sorry.
What?
Am I missing something here?
I don't know, are you?
I'm looking at this pork chop. What does he mean he can see Freddie Mercury's face? All I see is a white blob.
No, Alex, hang on. You can see the hair. You can see... You're spoiling it for the listeners.
No, can you? Where?
So, can you see him looking to the... So, Freddie is looking to the left. So, at the top, you can see his hairline.
Which bits? The brown bits or the white bits?
The white bits. Alex, he's clearly there.
Yeah, you're taking a piss.
I mean, he's got a long nose. I mean, he's aged a bit, I think. It's difficult
Aged?
to tell.
What are you talking about? There's no detail on this. Rob, is this the picture you're looking at? Hang on.
Are you just looking at a picture of a generic pork chop, Alex? Because if so...
Okay, I'm looking at it again. Rob, all I see is sort of gristle and oil. I don't understand.
I don't know how you can't see it, Alex.
Right.
I mean,
okay.
it's almost a miracle.
It's uncanny, is it?
In awe of his dinner resembling the late superstar who passed away in 1991, Derek took some photos before tucking in. Engineer Derek said, "I've never seen anything like it. I've cooked a lot. I've cooked a lot of things and lived a lot of years, but I've never seen my food resemble a celebrity before."
Is he taking the piss?
I don't think so. No, he's a Queen fan, and you know, all of a sudden he's been blessed with this pork
If he's
chop.
such a Queen fan, why didn't he freeze it and put it on the wall in some sort of frozen picture frame? I don't know if they exist. Why did he eat it?
Because this was a bank holiday treat for him and his wife Donna.
It's the sort of thing that you give Sarah on a bank holiday. Why? Sorry, a bank holiday treat, a pork chop.
Yeah, what's wrong with
that? Pork.
Alex,
okay, there are lots
stop
of pork
mocking these
jokes
poor
there.
people. This was the highlight of their bank holiday.
There's a lot of pork jokes there, aren't there?
Oh yeah, there are. Yeah. So before I served up, I called my wife over and she clocked it straight away. We looked at it for a moment or two, but we were both hungry, so I ended up eating it. I know it's a bit silly, but I've shown it to people and they say it's a dead ringer for Freddie. And then for some reason there's a very, very close-up picture of him, and I don't understand why. And that's the end of the story, unfortunately. Beelzebub says, "Welcome to the Daily Mirror, the intelligent paper." Boo-Boo11 says, "Another one bites the crust." Well, it doesn't really work as a pork chop.
It doesn't really work at all. Couldn't they have found a way to segue or just to batter through some sort of pig pun into a Queen song? Let's us think. The trouble is, how many? I mean, there's so many Queen songs. It's ridiculous. Isn't there a piggy? Isn't there a piggies? No, I'm thinking of The Cure.
Hang on. Why are we so bad at this every time? There are so many Queen songs that we could pick from. I mean, they've got 3 greatest hits, for fuck's sake.
Right, Rob, I'm going to come up with one. We're not going to have this again, right? I'm just going to right here, Rob, right now.
Okay.
It's going to happen. Wait. Okay, I've got one.
Go on.
The sow must go on.
Oh, that's good. We will pork you. That doesn't really work. No, that's cow related. I was thinking bovine Bohemian Rhapsody, but that doesn't quite work either.
I'm in love with my pig instead of I'm in love with my car.
That's very good, Alex, but we're trying to cover up with Queen puns.
Oh, yeah, pork. Funnily enough, Rob, they did actually have a song, "I See Your Face in My Pork Chop." So that's a bit of a weird coincidence.
Yeah, that is very strange. Anyway, moving on to my second story. I can't remember where I saw this, actually, but it's going back a bit, so I've no idea how I came across it, strangely. So going back again, it goes back to the 25th of May 2016. It's from the CBC, which is the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, who I would also say produce a lot of very good podcasts, if in case people are interested in. I got very excited when I happened to walk past the headquarters in Toronto. Anyway, the story is by Tamara Balaja, and the headline: "Did Canuck the Crow swoop off with a knife for a Vancouver crime scene?"
I don't know.
Well, you'll find out.
Okay. Who the Crow?
Canuck.
Who's Canuck the Crow? Is he some sort of crow celebrity over there?
No, it's Canuck. Yeah, he actually is. Yeah. So Canuck the Crow, Vancouver's most notorious bird, is being accused of flying away with a knife from a crime scene. The crow has quite a reputation in Vancouver, and its antics are regularly chronicled on social media, including a dedicated Facebook page that has a profile picture of the bird holding a knife in its beak.
What's he notorious for?
For stealing knives.
No, shut up.
No, seriously.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
So where does he steal knives from?
Anywhere.
But is he like a vigilante that swoops down on sort of knife-wielding gangs and takes them away? Is he like some sort of superhero?
I mean, it depends how you look at it. Yeah, but I think he's a bit like I think he's a wallaby magpie. I can imagine he just likes shiny things, and knives obviously fit the bill.
Pardon the pun.
Yeah. So early on Tuesday, police had shot a man near Hastings and Cassier Street. They were called to a scene of a car engulfed in flames. When they arrived, police said they were confronted by a man with a knife. Shots were fired and the man was arrested. Vancouver Courier reported that Mike Harrell said he saw the bird, which had a red tag on its leg, as does Canuck, swoop in and pick up an object from inside the area cordoned off by police tape.
Fuck off. That's amazing.
A cop chased it for about 15 to 20 feet, and then the crow dropped it and flew off.
So what do you mean the cop chased it for 50? What, the cop flew?
No, so basically what happened was, I'm guessing the crow swooped down inside the police cordon, picked up the bloody knife, or picked up the knife, it wasn't bloody, and then I'm guessing was trying to drag it along the floor, chased by this cop who was trying to rescue it.
But it was ambiguous. It was ambiguous. Maybe they had a jetpack. Can you imagine a policeman chasing a crow with a jetpack? It's quite an image, Rob.
That's quite an enduring image. It was really strange. In my 20 plus years reporting from crime scenes, I've never seen anything like that. A crow trying to take a knife. Vancouver police confirmed a bird did indeed take off with the crime scene evidence. The crow was persistent. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you dropped the knife. Does it take off with a knife? No, but they said that, and then the crow dropped it and took off.
There's contradictory information in here, Rob. Even I just love the idea that the crow got the knife, flew, and they shot the bird out of the air, and only then later realised that it was the notorious, much-loved crow of Vancouver. Then they would have had to go into cover-up mode. You buy another crow, put the red tape around it, try and pass it off as the actual crow.
Yep, absolutely, yeah. So I think what had happened was the crow did take off with the knife, but mid-flight dropped the evidence,
which could have been deadly to anyone underneath.
Absolutely, yeah. So the
crow
was
kills
persistent.
Man
by accident, allegedly, because we don't know. The crow might have had an ulterior motive. Maybe he was implicated in the crime in some way prior to this.
Maybe the crow is working for some crime syndicate and is being trained up, Rob, to remove evidence. Can I just say, if there are any kind of crime syndicates listening, that is a great idea. Train up animals to remove crime scene evidence. Rob, you're nodding at that like it's a genuinely good idea. It's not.
Alex, I mean, but I think you're onto something. Who's to say that couldn't become a reality?
You're right.
In this day and age, anything can happen. Come on, Alex, we have to acknowledge this. If we can become crime scene... What was it? No, not crime scene.
Woodland murder detectives.
Exactly. Anything is possible.
What I wonder about, Rob, sometimes about, we were talking about emotional support animals earlier.
Yeah.
You do worry, don't you, that somebody's going to take, I don't know, a llama on board a flight as an emotional support animal packed internally with explosives.
I did wonder where you're going with that. I must
admit, do they X-ray the animals?
That took quite a left turn.
They must X-ray the animals. But can you imagine, you take a, what was it, like a miniature horse with a stick of dynamite shoved up its rear end?
Do you know what? That's a very good, not the stick of dynamite, but that's a very good point. Do you think they would? Because obviously...
You'd have to, it's a danger, isn't it? Because you could just take advantage of this and you could use them as the new front on terrorism, exploding animals aboard flights. Terrifying
thought, Alex. Terrifying thought.
Is.
The crow was persistent, but the knife was eventually gathered as evidence. Constable Brian Montague said in an email. nice to elaborate on his form of communication there. The bird was also spotted sitting on the roof of the burned car and trying to get into a camera operator's gear.
The bird sounds like he's got criminal tendencies to me.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. It goes on to say, by the way, infamous bird, so this is a subheader. Among its other exploits, Canute attacked a cyclist in East Vancouver last year and posed for a mock interview with CBC journalist Dan Burritt.
What?
Yeah,
so he's infamous for terrorising people.
Yeah, and there's actually a YouTube clip of the bird perched on the shoulder of this CBC reporter staging this mock interview. It's very bizarre.
Right.
He's also. Go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say. I think this kind of shows the sort of the level of sort of entertainment in Canada, maybe.
I mean, that's very offensive to our Canadian listeners, Alex.
Well, there's many Canadians, aren't there, Rob, who end up in Hollywood, and there's a reason they left Canada.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's true. It was also spotted riding the SkyTrain, which is the equivalent to the subway. And
it sounds better, doesn't it, Rob? I'm gonna go.
It does.
I'm gonna go hitch a ride on the SkyTrain. That sounds like something from the future.
Yeah, I agree with that. Actually, it does sound better. And then it's a very strange sentence to finish with. It says, this particular crow was raised by humans and is a common fixture around his East Vancouver neighbourhood.
Raised by humans?
Yes.
Right. So he kind of believes he's human.
It would certainly seem to suggest that, yeah.
Okay. Any more stories about... What's his name again?
Canuck.
Canuck. What does Canuck mean?
Well, there was a King Canuck, but it's spelt differently because it's C-N-U-T. This is C-A-N-U-C-K.
Sorry, did you just say cunt?
No, Canuck. King Canuck.
I thought you just said C-U-N-T.
No, C-N-U-T.
I think it says C-U-N-T. We'll find out in the edit.
I might well done. I need to find a King Canuck, what he was famous for. There we are. Canuck the Great. He was King of Norway and part of Sweden.
Right.
From 995 AD to 1035 AD. Bit of history for you there.
I'd like to think I'll remember that, but I know I won't.
King Canute. Canute, that's how you pronounce it. There we go.
Glad we cleared that up. Now, Rob, this is a story, Rob, that I've got that is right up your alley, if you pardon the expression. It's from the Bournemouth Echo, and this is by Faith Eckersall. Faith Eckersall, 4th of September. Are there big cats loose in Dorset? This new film could change your mind, Rob. Because you, Rob, have been notoriously very... Rob, okay, you've been notoriously very sceptical. A wealthy Bournemouth... Gone then.
All I'm going to say is, okay, we know what the answer to this. Yes, I am sceptical, but this is only retaliation for that poor man who obviously saw his icon, Freddie Mercury, in a pork chop when it was clearly there, whereas this cat is probably just a domestic kitten.
A wealthy Bournemouth business owner who claims he and his daughter saw a big cat walk through their garden in broad daylight, Rob. And a man who witnessed a panther with a deer in its mouth in the New Forest. What an image that is. So Rob, you explain then. If I'm in the New Forest, which I frequent fairly regularly, if I see what looks like a panther with a deer in its mouth, how can that be a cat?
Okay, one question. Does he have photographic evidence of the panther with the deer in its mouth, or did he just happen to see it?
Well, we might find out. Mike
Right.
Coggan, whose initial film is about the Southwest big cat phenomenon, scored more, Rob, than 11,000 YouTube hits in just 2 days. Well, I'd like to say we've got 11,000 YouTube hits for our Alan Partridge Richard Madeley video, so that doesn't mean anything. And he wants funding, Rob, so he can investigate the long-running mystery properly. So he wants money, Rob. He wants cash.
Right, okay.
Multiple eyewitnesses have reported two puma-like animals around Bournemouth. Sorry, because I haven't actually properly read this story. Okay, well, prepare yourself for this sentence. Multiple eyewitnesses have reported two puma-like animals around Bournemouth Airport in the last few days. Emotional support animals, presumably on the loose.
Right.
Sorry, around Bournemouth Airport.
Well, I mean, first of all, can I just say I didn't realise that Bournemouth had an airport?
No.
Second of all, who's to say that Bournemouth...
It saved me the 3-hour car journey, wouldn't it?
I mean, Alex, let's face it, I don't think they fly to outside the UK. I mean, it's possible. I don't know I mean, that is a bizarre place to see a supposed big cat.
2 puma-like animals, Rob.
Right.
We placed a few camera traps around where these sightings were supposed to have been, but so far we've not caught anything. Mr. Coggan, whose company Grizzly makes business videos, says several
hang on. He has a company called Grizzly,
and they make business videos. Can I ask you, Rob,
what does that mean?
What's a business video?
I mean, could you think of anything more generic than business video?
Business video specialist. Anyway, he says several people who had reported sightings would not appear on screen, Rob. Why do you think they refused to appear on screen? Guess. You got 3 guesses.
I don't need 3 guesses, Alex, because I didn't see them.
No, you're wrong.
Shysters, Alex, a lot of them.
Why do you think they refused to appear on film? What was their reason that they gave?
For fear of ridicule.
That's exactly the quote. For fear of ridicule. Well done.
Wow.
The businessman was one of these. He said a big cat just walked straight through their garden in broad daylight and then jumped over an 8-foot fence onto the railway line. How, Rob, does a cat jump over an 8-foot high fence? Actually, they can jump.
Most common domestic cats could probably do that.
Mike's interest in big cats started 7 years ago when he was driving at Horton one night and saw what he first thought was an Alsatian dog, presumably one of the runaways from that mansion earlier, but later believed it was a... Hang on. So at first he thought it was an Alsatian, but later believed it was a black leopard. Now, Rob, at what point are you going to get an Alsatian confused for a black leopard? Do you get black Alsatian dogs? You don't really.
You do, yeah.
Oh,
no, you
okay.
do. You
fair
get
enough. Fair enough. He said it was pretty scary at the time, but the encounter lasted around 6 or 7 seconds, Rob.
Sorry, I'm slightly confused by that. So, what was the period of time him deciding that it was a black Alsatian to...
Well, it's 6 seconds. So, oh shit, there's a German Shepherd. No, it's a black leopard. I didn't even know there were black leopards.
Well, I think... I'm not sure. Have we discussed this on the podcast before? So, there's no such thing as a panther, right?
Eh?
Panther is a collective term for certain big cats.
You're sounding very Partridge right now.
Well, I feel it needs to be made. So basically,
tell me. But I did not know this. A panther is a collective term for what? For like a puma?
I think it's a leopard, puma, and a jaguar that is black in nature. Yeah, there's no such thing as a panther. Hang on, let me just bring it up. But also,
so when my friend who listens to this, Ross Strawford, when he tried to say a leopard never changes its spots, yeah, I've told you this story. He tried to use the phrase a leopard never changes its spots, but infamously said a panther's always a panther.
That's bullshit.
So you're telling me he was wrong because a panther isn't always a panther because there is really no such thing.
So a black panther is a melanistic colour variant of the Panthera series. Black panthers in Asia and Africa are leopards, and those in the Americas are jaguars.
I see. Well, he says it was pretty scary at the time. When asked why, despite having millions of... Rob, you're going to love this sentence. When asked why, despite having millions of dash cams, home cams, CCTV and phone cameras now in the UK, there was not one good image of a big cat, he admitted it was a puzzling question, Rob.
I mean, do you need any more evidence? Seriously.
But he said...
This man has not seen shit.
But he said, I do know of a person who claims to have seen a big cat 26 times, and you do have to wonder why they haven't got one image, he said. Like many who investigate the phenomenon, he believes that big cats were amongst the creatures quietly turned loose by cruel owners who didn't want to make provision for them after the Dangerous Wild Animals Act in 1976. I mean, Rob, we have to look at this. In 1976, the Dangerous Wild Animals Act came into force, which presented people owning animals like these, which hitherto they could own. So there must have been some let loose, and they must have bred, and there must be big cats, therefore, in the wild.
Alex, you know what? I'm sure that is true. I'm sure people did release them into the wild. Strangely, though, I think I seem to remember reading a story about a guy who claimed to have seen a panther on 26 occasions. Now, what was his name? It was something Mooner.
Now he's a UFOologist. Listen. This is a reason, he said, that they may still be able to hide in our relatively overcrowded island. He says, they are very elusive and shy. They live by eating rabbits and smaller animals. They don't need to attack humans. Rob, how did he know this? How did he know that these big cats that were released post-1976 are elusive and shy? Because shy Really? And they survive, Rob, by eating rabbits and smaller animals.
Maybe the internet's a wonderful thing, Alex.
Mike is looking for funding to make a longer and more detailed investigation and pay for a thermal drone to be used in the hunt for the big cats of Dorset. It's a fascinating topic, he says. They're like America's version of Bigfoot. And because there is no government body investigating it, the only people who are those who come up in news articles who claim to be experts, he said. So he's basically admitting it's like America's version of Bigfoot, i.e. bollocks.
Yeah. But also, we have to remember, this guy is in the process of trying to obtain funding to take this research further.
Yeah, absolutely, Rob. Rob, there are some comments. Sal Barbier says, as I've stated before on previous reports on the Echo webpage, while working at a house in Hill Terrace, in Canford Magna, Merley border, there was an enormous black leopard, bigger than my Labrador. As soon as it saw me, it cleared the 6-foot fence in one leap. I gave chase with a camera, but I'd lost it in the field, the tree line on the other side of Oakley Lane. What a beautiful image, Rob.
Of course you did. Yeah, absolutely. You went outside with your dodgy, shitty camera. You tried to get a picture, but unfortunately you lost it in the undergrowth.
Because they're elusive, Rob. Pragmatism, not idealism, simply says, you aren't thinking, Mr. Coggan. For this to be true, it would require a fairly large, genetically distinct, sizable population of them to allow successful breeding. A small, rare creature may well go undetected for years, but to suggest that an animal of this size, with its daily meat requirements, which is true, could somehow live in secret for all these years is as ridiculous as the existence of Loch Ness Monster, which is also impossible for the exact same reasons. My advice, grow up and do something worthwhile. I think we'll leave that there. Okay, Rob. It is time for our listener story of the week. And who's it from this week, Rob?
This week it's from Amy, although I've got slightly sidetracked by Googling black leopards, which really are beautiful creatures.
You're not looking at those porn sites again, are you, Rob?
No.
Well, you all know you've always had a fetish for cats. I mean, actually, that's wrong to say that because you do own some of them, and that really does cast aspersions on your character. I retract those comments, Rob. You're a cat lover, but in the good, pure, wholesome way.
Absolutely, yeah. Whichever way that may be. Anyway, so this is from Amy, as I've already said. It's from the Wales Live website from the 28th of August. The story is by Sarah Hodgson. And the headline: doll possessed by double-headed demon caught on camera by shocked dad.
Sorry. What the fuck is a double-headed demon, and how do you know when something is possessed by it?
Well, I mean, Alex, it's quite self-explanatory. It's a demon with two heads.
I think I passed a double-headed demon doing a shit the other day.
Fair enough.
Okay, what is a... Go on then, tell me the story.
So, Dad believes he has captured an evil double-headed demon.
You have to. Oh, of course, you have to clarify that it's evil. I thought demons were evil, but no, we'll just clarify. It's an evil double-headed demon. Right? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think you need to make clear that it is evil. But Dad believes he has captured an evil double-headed demon on camera in his own home. Now, here's the kicker: paranormal investigator Matt Tillett and his partner Emma Wilcox say a malevolent being has possessed a doll they own and has even spoken to them.
Right.
Unfortunately, I don't know. There's something about the fact that he's a paranormal investigator that makes me sit slightly uneasy. They brought the doll named Annie around 2 weeks ago, believing it could be possessed, and had it fitted with paranormal equipment in the hope of proving there is life after death. Matt claims that the supernatural entity constantly uses vile and nasty language and has even told his partner she was pregnant, which turned out not to be true.
You're pregnant. Is that what it said? You're pregnant.
Yeah. And his wife went,
so it's not a very clever spirit then, is it?
No. But on Monday, August 26th, they managed to catch the supernatural entity on camera at their home in Wrexham, let's just say Wrexham, and now believes it has two faces. The shot couple were filmed when they... Is that right? The shot couple were filmed, yeah. When they saw a dark shadow pass across the screen of their phone. In video footage of the incident, Emma could be heard asking, "What was that?" before a voice comes through the spirit portal saying, "That was me!"
Right.
Is this a shot from the video? No, it's just the doll, okay. The 31-year-old dad said, I've been investigating the paranormal for about 7 years, and I've been looking to get a haunted object or demon in a box, as I wanted to prove there is something out there.
Sorry.
We've been testing...
I wanted to get a demon in a box is just quite a phrase.
Yeah. A demon in a box sounds
demon
like...
in a box. Demon in a box.
It does sound like something that would have existed like a children's toy from the 80s. Available now, demon in a box.
Free with every Happy Meal. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, God, the lawyers. Anyway, go on.
We've been testing the doll for about 7 days, trying to get to speak to it, and on Monday we heard it. We were so shocked when we heard it, as we've been trying so hard. Plus, all the lights started going off. On the doll at the same. What lights on the doll? Oh, I'm guessing there were lights focusing on the doll. And so it was fantastic to get both. I had set my camera up in front of the doll, and Emma had her phone recording too. Emma saw something move past the camera. You can hear her gasp as she was so shocked. We've also studied a photograph that we took, and we can clearly see two faces, with one looking at looking at Annie and one at the camera. Alex, I think you need to Google this to see if you can see anything.
Right, so Rob, hang on for a minute, Rob. I'm looking at this picture. Sorry, did they make the doll look like this?
It doesn't say, Alex. I don't know.
Rob, you don't buy a doll that looks like this. This is a doll that they've painted to look beyond demonic.
Yeah.
She's got blood stains down her dress. Her eyes are hollowed out. Black, deep, hollow eye sockets. Crazy eyes. Blood round her mouth. Bruises over her face. Blood on her hands, Rob. Rob, to me, I think it's a sign of pretty serious mental health issues if you've got people making a doll look like this, sticking it in a chair.
Yep.
Sort of agreeing with each other that it's all possessed by a demon, and sitting in a room, sitting there going, talk!
Alex,
no?
I don't appreciate your negativity. This doll is possessed by a two-headed demon called Zozo, that goes around apparently telling this man's wife that she's pregnant when she's not, because she's done a test. Very strange. I'm not sure why you felt you needed to. But also just to say that it's very strange that Matt, who's obviously the paranormal investigator, also does paranormal nights at local pubs and offers to put people in touch with their deceased relatives. So it's also very coincidental that he's managed to find a possessed doll. Anyway, let's leave that there.
So just to be clear, then we've had Freddie Mercury's face in a pork chop, big cats, and double-headed demon possessing doll.
Yep.
Right, and this is just meant to be a local news podcast, not meant to focus on the paranormal.
No.
Okay, Rob, look, we're really running out of time here, so this brings this episode of Local Anesthetic Podcast to a close, Rob, as we look forward with a mixture of eager anticipation yet trepidation to our next episode, which will be 287, as we move ever more forward, like a man running down a street past what looks like a very nice stately mansion, only to have a hungry, starving Alsatian leap over a fence, Rob, and assail him. Or, Rob, was it an Alsatian? Maybe it was a big cat.
Good point.
Just like that, we move ever more forward to our next episode. Look, you know where to find us. Leave us a review. Donate to the podcast on our website if you want to do that. Submit a story at lapodcast.net@gmail.com. All the information's on our website of how to contact us anyway, and we're on facebook.com/lapodcast, Twitter at lapodcast. Rob, what's our theme going to be? We're going to spell out the word anaesthetic because our podcast name, of course, is Local Anaesthetic, and the English spelling is quite difficult. So come on then, what are we going to...
So this week I'm going to keep it topical, and so it's items to help you prepare for a no-deal Brexit. So what are you going to stockpile in the case that the borders close and everything goes to shit?
Well, I wasn't planning on stockpiling, but every now and a while I think about it. But that's the problem. If everybody stockpiles, then we have food shortages.
Yeah.
Okay, A, so am I starting?
You can start,
Does it have to be foods? Because we've done a lot of food. Can it be anything?
Anything
oh,
at
okay.
all.
Aniseed.
Okay, fine.
Surely that's an essential item. We're going to have to be really quick about this, Rob.
Nutmeg. You never know, you might need some nutmeg.
Apricots.
But they'll go off quite quickly, Alex, but okay.
No, dried apricots. Apricots. Okay. Apricots in brackets, dried.
E, it's always good to have a
Rob, what about just E?
Yeah. You never know where you might need some ecstasy. Just try and escape the horrors of this dystopian nightmare.
I'm going to go for a straight down the line one here. Sugar. I think sugar's a good thing to stockpile.
Yeah, and also, obviously, we are British, so tea.
Can I just ask, can you live on sugar?
You can, but probably not for too long before, you slip into a coma.
Okay. So you're going with tea.
Yeah.
H. We have done just food so far. We did say it could be anything.
Yeah. Okay.
Hedge trimmers.
Right. Okay. Yes. Why not?
There might be a desperate need, post the apocalypse for hedge trimmers, and I'll have them all, and then I'll be able to sell them for a very good price.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just going to go into B&Qs and buy up all the hedge trimmers.
Well, I also think as well we need to celebrate the certain times of the year, so possibly a stockpile of Easter eggs will come in very handy.
No, it's just a ridiculous thing to stockpile, and that they go off. That's ridiculous.
They were the last about 6 months. They probably better. No, not better than sugar. Okay, E. Something being with E. Eggs would be.
Why do we struggle to think of basic things beginning with E? It doesn't have to be food. Remember, Rob?
Electricity in battery form.
No, that does not count. But you could have electric what? Electric dreams. Whatever.
What does that mean? Okay, yeah, go on.
Tea. Surely toilet paper.
Yeah, absolutely.
You want
yeah.
And you can use it for other things as well.
Yeah.
I have used toilet roll as a substitute for kitchen paper before when I've run out of kitchen roll.
Yeah, I think I've done the same.
Yeah, but not used toilet paper. No, I do want to be clear.
I've done it
okay, Rob, running out of time. We're running out of time, Rob. Ice will melt. That puts your freezer.
You just want some. Just
ice because it can double up as water. Of course, not a lot of people know that, Rob.
No,
not a lot of people know that. And C, crab meat.
Yes, in a tin, obviously.
No, I'm not going to have crab meat because that's unfair. Condoms.
No, do you not want to repopulate the earth? Hang on, this isn't an apocalypse. Yeah, let's just go with crab meat.
Don't scaremonger, Rob. Oh God. Okay, we are about to end. Okay, look. Thank you for listening, everybody. Tune in next week. God bless.
And keep it local.